Hi. Oh, this will be fun.
We're excited?
Yes. This is really, I think, if there's an episode that might be the epitome of can they say that?
Yes.
This is probably it.
Yeah.
And I think maybe we're a little nervous, but we're sort of fed up a little bit too, so we just had to do it.
Yeah.
This episode is called For Humanity.
Yes.
Or against humanity.
Against. For humanity or against
against
humanity.
humanity.
My country came out.
Rehumanizing versus dehumanizing.
Yes, we're gonna have to give lots of props to
Brene Brown.
Yes.
For the rehumanizing. Really like that
Exactly.
a lot.
So we'll say that title again. We're
Yes.
about to start the podcast. We'll be talking to you guys, but we're also podcasting, and we may have a special word for you at the end, where after we turn off the podcast, and we'll talk specifically to you guys on YouTube land. Y'all get the extra. What? Okay, here we go.
Can they say that?
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 Can they say that? They can, and they will.
Hello, hello. Welcome today.
Hello.
I am Polly Hamp,
I am Gina Berkmeyer.
and today.
Oh, today. Today we are going to share with you guys, this is probably so far, I think this is maybe the episode outside of the launch that really defines so much of why we wanted to do this in the first place. The whole can they say that is, we're really going to test that today.
Yes, we are.
Because we're really going to say it.
Yeah.
So today's title is For Humanity or Against Humanity, Rehumanizing versus Dehumanizing.
Yes.
Rehumanizing, we love that word. That actually comes from Brene Brown. We want to give her props.
What?
Hashtag Brene Brown. Braving the Wilderness is where that's from. I'm actually going to read an excerpt of that book a little bit later.
Yes.
And we'll have a link in our resources in a day or so that will take you back to that book because it's a really great one.
Yeah. So we want to ask for grace today.
Lots of grace.
Lots of grace, because the very thing that we're going to be talking about is something that we actually struggle with ourselves.
Yep.
And so we're pretty excited to be able to share it with you guys. But then also when we were discussing this beforehand, I was like, wait, we can't say that, but we need to really kind of get above that. And so just all the ways that we can communicate it. So we hope that our communication is very clear, and we may jack it up. And
We're probably going to jack it up.
What? No.
Yeah. No.
No.
We're going to, it's going to happen.
Okay, we probably will.
Yeah.
So, but give us grace and then challenge the heck out of us.
Yes.
You know, we don't want to just talk about this stuff and you guys get frustrated and stay silent about it. We'd love to hear your thoughts,
Right.
your comments, but we hope you do it in a way that is kind, respectful,
Because we certainly want to be respectful.
and
If we're not, though, call us on it,
yeah,
please. We want to know.
yes. So, you get to go because you're going to talk about sandpaper people. Is that earlier, later?
So I'd like to reserve sandpaper because I think what's going to happen is as we go through this, y'all out there are going to start to see faces in your mind's eye of people who may fall into one or more of the categories that we discuss. So at the end, I'm going to talk a little bit about sandpaper people versus cheese grater people. And
So just file that.
so just
in
file
your
that for
brain.
later. We're going to come back to it.
It's going to happen.
I think a lot of what we're going to talk about today really has to do with one of the reasons that we started this, particularly for everyone and anyone who is listening, especially for people in the church who might be listening to this, and that whole us and them mentality that happens so often. Not just between those in the church and those outside of the church, but between those within the walls as well. So one of the things that we really hope is going to happen today is that we are going to do a relatively decent job of giving tools and provoking thought that helps push back on the us and them mentality.
Yes. And I also want to say, if you have littles right now listening to this, go ahead and turn it off and
back later.
listen later, because there might be some words that you don't want your littles to repeat yet, and they're going to learn them in school. But
even some of the content, I think, is almost maybe PG-13 or higher. So
yeah. So just a little note there.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Do you want to go? Do you want to tell your story?
okay, so I was on Twitter. I love Twitter. I'll troll Twitter. I comment on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things I do to challenge myself is I follow a lot of different people who I disagree with, people who I agree with, people who I'm like, what? Why are you even speaking? And, so I just kind of follow the whole gamut. I very rarely respond. And if I do, I try to respond in a way that is respectful, which is humanizing.
Yep.
I see humans. And so there's this one guy who posted a tweet, and he said he was at the gas station and he has a bumper sticker that says F Trump. And I will not tell you that I'm pro or against Trump. I'm just not going to.
That's not what this is
so
about.
it's not about political views right now. But he has a bumper sticker that said F Trump. And this guy came up to him and said, you're the reason, you liberal faggot, you're the reason why we voted Trump into office. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And so this guy then slams the guy who said the liberal thing. And he's like, can you believe he's saying this? But then I'm looking at the feed of all these people who are commenting and cheering on the F Trump guy for what he said. But I'm like, but you're doing the exact same thing that the guy who made the horrible liberal comment about. You're doing the exact same thing by having this bumper sticker. And so the hypocrisy.
Hello, pot. This is kettle calling.
Exactly. Was just, and I'm like, where you stand on the edge of a pool and it's really cold and you want to jump in, but you don't really because it's going to hurt.
You felt sort of like that.
And I was like, gosh, if I jump into this, I'm going to feel the pain, and I'm probably, it's going to come back, and it's going to, all these different people are going to say things. And so I just left it alone. But it won't leave my brain.
Yeah.
Because, what you were saying before is had it been an F Hillary, had it been an F Obama, it doesn't matter who the person is. It's dehumanizing people no matter what.
That's right.
And so you were going to talk a little bit about that within how we dehumanize and...
Yeah, so I think one of the things that happens not on a conscious level, but again, back to that for us or against us mentality, with us or against us mentality. Either you think the way I do or you don't, and I will take those two categories and I will decide how I will treat you based on that rather than how I will treat you based on your humanity, that you are an image bearer of Christ. And when we don't do that, when we stray away from remembering that, that's super dangerous because it's such a slippery slope. I think that we use it to hurry up and categorize people. I think it's a way of keeping ourselves safe because we somehow think that if we listen to someone who differs from us, that we either have to agree or disagree. And then if we agree or disagree, we can either like them or not like them.
Yeah.
And so, or that somehow our view and opinion matters less because we've listened to someone else, rather than it being, wow, I hear you and I want to give you space to say what you think and feel. And let's even have some back and forth about that. And not for the sake of even trying to change one another's mind, but broaden both of our perspectives and walk away a fuller, richer human being. And you walk away feeling heard and valued as a human being, rather than, nope, sorry, it's either this or that. And also to look at, we want to so quickly take a look at what somebody says.
Yeah.
And then we make, it's like this insane domino effect of now we know everything about them because of a bumper sticker on their car.
Right.
That's absurd. That
Yes.
person with the F Obama sticker or the F Trump sticker who you have vilified because of that sticker might have just come from a mission trip in I don't know where, pick a place, where they've started 5 orphanages and sold everything they owned to help refugees. I mean, my point is, you cannot know a human being by a bumper sticker,
Yeah.
right? You just can't.
So I have a question though. So aren't people trying to make a statement by a bumper sticker? Like if they have that kind of bumper sticker on there, and I'm even going to go as far as to say, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but it popped into my head, pro-life bumper stickers. And, you know, aborting babies is, you know, murder. And that's, you know, I am pro-life, but I've had an abortion.
Yep.
And so I can't imagine what it had been like had somebody who, you know, wasn't like fire and pitchfork saying, how dare you, you know, but had somebody come along and said, hey, wow, that must be really hard that you've walked through that. And so you've got these two, when you're making a statement so overt.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so there's a challenge there with kind of, I mean, we don't want to label and judge people. So how do we humanize them in their profound statement, because they didn't get there from nothing. You know, they got there for a reason.
No, and I think that that's true. I think they are making a statement with those bumper stickers. I think the problem is when we assume we know what this whole statement is.
That's good. Yeah.
Rather than what that one statement is. So, and I have my thoughts on pro-life stickers and things like that. I'm anti-bumper sticker, whatever. I mean, I believe in Jesus, but I won't put a fish on the back because let me tell you, I've had my road rage days.
Yes,
So I don't want to, you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are you sure she loves Jesus?
Yeah, no, we're not doing
I'm just
that.
a fish eater.
I just love fish a whole lot. I'm a pescatarian.
Yeah.
That's why it's there. So I really think that it's important to, you know, you can have that moment where you're like, ooh, ouch, that's kind of rubbing against something in me. And I feel myself wanting to withdraw from the humanity of this person because of that thing. But how is that helpful, and what maybe I should be doing something different, right?
Well, if we look at the world today, the whole statement, everybody has a voice movement, which is very powerful and very important. Yet so much hate is being spewed. So much dividing, so much the us and them. You know, coming back to that, the us and them, where you're either a Christian or you're not. You're either Jew or Gentile. You're either
Republican or Democrat.
or Democrat.
Pro-life or pro-choice.
Exactly. And so, you know, there's not been this ability to be able to have a conversation of connection. It's been, you know, fire and pitchfork. And
Well, it's all or nothing.
Yeah.
That's a huge part of the problem. Is it's all or nothing.
Yes.
It's the I'm gonna go skeet shooting with my kids because that's a really fun thing to do. What? You're pro gun and pro NRA? What? Where did you get that? I mean, it's things like that, right? Or I eat meat, which presently I don't, but I've eaten my share in the day. Oh, you animal hater. Well, hold on a second. That doesn't mean that I hate animals. I mean, I respect animals, and I mean, it's just so. I'm gonna say it. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's just a way to take a person, put them in a box, and say, now I don't have to deal with you or look at your humanity or even try to love you. Like perhaps I'm probably called to love you because this is all of who you are. That's it. That's all you are.
So is this bullying?
It is absolutely bullying.
Yeah.
It is absolutely bullying.
Because it's that I need to be bigger than you. And so I'm going to belittle you in your beliefs, and I'm not going to give you any room for who you are, even though I don't know you.
Right.
And I'm going to attack you in your personhood.
Yeah.
Or I do know you, and you're a family member, and I'm just going to attack you anyway.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think it can be a generational thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think about some of the things from a racial perspective. I'm not going to go into them. I can just think and cringe of some of the things that I heard growing up, that there was no other side telling me, do you know what that word actually means? Don't use that word. And then coming to adulthood and having friends from other races and learning some of that and thinking, oh my gosh, I just thought that was like, I didn't know it was a thing, but it's like, that's hurtful.
Yeah.
And even learning and teaching, and there's opportunities to do that. And I think we miss an opportunity to help somebody find another piece of their humanity
Yeah.
when we can't just gently even say to someone, hey, I'm wondering if you know what that actually is about, where that term came from or that name, or when you said ... I'm wondering if you had thought about ... which gets you a whole lot farther than going into somebody's face and saying you right-wing wacko,
Yeah.
fascist, whatever, socialist, whatever, and you know, I mean, yeah. So, so there's a little, I think it's maybe like a taking your pulse kind of thing about
Yes.
that in this book. I'm holding it up for our YouTube people.
Yes.
Braving the Wilderness by Brene Brown.
And we will post this in our resources and all that, so you will
Yep.
have it.
So this is going to take a minute, so just get comfy. Okay. So much of our work now is more a matter of rehumanizing. That starts in the same place dehumanizing starts, with words and images. So here is what she says that she believes. And I have to tell you, I wholeheartedly agree with her. And yes, you may email me on that if you need to. She says, if you are offended or hurt when you hear Hillary Clinton or Maxine Waters called bitch, whore, or the C word, you should be equally offended and hurt when you hear those same words used to describe Ivanka Trump, Kellyanne Conway, or Theresa May. And I'm going to throw in Melania as of recent. Mm-hmm. If you feel belittled when Hillary Clinton called Trump supporters a basket of deplorables, then you should feel equally concerned when Eric Trump said Democrats aren't even human. When the President of the United States calls women dogs or talks about grabbing pussy, we should get chills down our spine and resistance flowing through our veins. When people call the President of the United States a pig, we should reject that language regardless of our politics and demand discourse that doesn't make people subhuman. When we hear people referred to as animals or aliens, we should immediately wonder, is this an attempt to reduce someone's humanity so we can get away with hurting them or denying them basic human rights? If you're offended by a meme of Trump photoshopped to look like Hitler, then you shouldn't have Obama photoshopped to look like the Joker on your Facebook feed. We must never tolerate dehumanization, the primary instrument of violence that has been used in every genocide recorded throughout history. I want to say that last part again.
I was going to say that you need to say that last part
We
again.
must never tolerate dehumanization, the primary instrument of violence that has been used in every genocide recorded throughout history. When we engage in dehumanization, we are setting the stage for some type of potential of a genocide. Mm-hmm. We're killing something. We're killing off someone's internal value. We're killing off their ability to connect. We're inducing shame upon them. These are not things that humans should be doing to humans. This is not who we are called to be. And church, y'all, this is not who we are called to be.
No.
Absolutely who we are not called to be.
We should be known as the kindest people on the planet. Mm-hmm. We should be known as the ones that we still hold strong to our faith and our beliefs.
And we have boundaries.
And we have boundaries and we don't open them up to just anything.
Right.
Yet we should always be willing to invite those into conversation. Mm-hmm. And then draw boundaries, then draw boundaries where something might not feel safe.
Yes.
But you know, one of the things that you say that I love is it's very hard to hate somebody up close. Mm-hmm. even though they might rub you wrong, and I know you'll talk about that in a little bit, but even though that they might just, it's like, okay, I don't really like them. But if I am willing to sit in front of you and hear you and share your story, and I share mine, it's very hard to hate in that place.
Yeah, whether physically or metaphorically, it's like holding hands when we share that story, because we're holding something between the two of us. Try to hate that person. It's pretty hard. It's pretty hard when you can see a glimpse of their heart.
Yeah.
And their pain, particularly their pain. It's really difficult to do that.
I agree.
Yeah. So, do you want to go to steps?
Yeah, let's go to
Okay,
steps.
let's go to steps. So, so before I do steps, let me do sandpaper people
Please,
versus
yes.
cheese grater people. Okay.
Because you want to know.
So we all have sandpaper people in our lives. They're the people who sort of rub us the wrong way. Thanks. They're the people who sort of rub us the wrong way. They have opinions that don't agree with our opinions. They live their life in a way that we think is, just a little off center, and there's just things that we just can't quite jive with that person, which is a good indication that we've labeled them in some way that has given us the us and them. We have those sandpaper people. Then there's cheese grater people. Cheese grater people are more like the sharp metal on a cheese grater. When you try to get close and you rub up against them, they harm you. They draw blood. Metaphorically speaking, hopefully not physically speaking, they draw blood. It's very painful to be around them. You can't be heard. They refuse to let you in, and they just trample your boundaries. We're not suggesting with these steps that we're going to give you, we're not suggesting that you go find your cheese grater people and do this,
Right.
because you do need to maintain safety, emotional safety, mental safety, physical safety. But with sandpaper people, we're going to ask you to take a risk, because that's how we grow, is when we risk. So with your sandpaper people,
I keep visualizing Star Wars and the sand people.
oh,
I was like, oh, they're the people. Anyway,
Yes.
that's my brain. Okay,
That's
sorry.
all right.
Sandpaper people.
sandpaper people. So one of the things that we're going to ask you to take a risk and do is, by now I'm thinking if you're listening to this with even half of your attention focused in, you've had faces pop up into your head. You've begun to see people in your mind who kind of fit these descriptions.
I'm already making my list.
Yeah, I've got mine too. They appear in my Facebook feed. So we are going to, we would ask you to dip one toe further towards relationship with that person. It doesn't even have to be your whole foot if you can't do that, just a toe. Just go one step further. Do something that promotes relationship with that person. Send them an IM, send them a text message, call them if you're feeling really brave, email, give them a little shout out on Facebook, something positive. Ask them something about their world that is maybe not politically charged, or
religiously charged.
charged.
Yeah.
Right. Just something about them as a human being that can promote that relationship between the two of you.
I'm raising my hand. So, and also, if you have that person in your mind, which I'm sure probably 99.9% of all of you guys listening right now have that person in your mind right now, ask God what he wants you to say to them. There's power in just like listening, and God can say, hey, they need to hear that they're not alone today. They need to hear ... And so it's amazing what happens when you open that up to another level and going, hey God, what do you want to say to them, and how can I love them today?
That's good.
And it also can help your heart too, to see them through God's eyes, not your own.
Yeah, that's really good. Check your biases. We're checking ours big time.
Yes.
We're going to ask you to check yours. The list that I read from Brene's book, I think is a really good help. If you had some butt scrunch moments while I was reading that, you're like, I never thought about it that way, right? Then you might want to take a look at those biases. And be mindful of what you're calling yourself. So, for example, like if you call yourself a feminist, and you see a girl in short shorts walking down the street and you call her a skank, you're not a feminist. If you want to tear down the woman at work because something she did or something she said or something, you're not a feminist. So check your biases. Where are you drawing lines and conclusions about people for the sake of your own comfort? so that you can label them, put them in a box, stick them on a shelf, never to be seen or heard from in your lifetime again. Take a look at that. Would you like to add to that?
You know, this challenges core beliefs.
I
like
know.
generational core beliefs,
I
things
know.
that we started bringing in, before, a term that you use is pre-verbal.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that we see, and then what we see in school and what's happened to us
Mm-hmm.
in school, and whether we were like the popular kids or not the popular kids, whether we were bullied, whether, we were the bully, all of that kind of stuff. So it really challenges some core beliefs.
Yes.
Let it challenge your core beliefs.
Don't be scared.
No.
This is how you grow.
Yes.
This is how we grow.
Yes.
This is, part of the reason we did this was so we could challenge each other. You should have heard some of the pre-recording
We need
conversation.
to pre-record our pre-records.
Maybe.
Records our anyway. never
Yeah,
mind.
there was a lot going on over here, folks. So just know that we're not saying this from the cheap seats.
That's right.
We're going to engage in this and work at doing better at these things ourselves. And then the last thing that I would just say is, if you're going to do this, we want to hear about it.
Yes.
Please, 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 please. Even if you don't want to share, if you want to share anonymously, that's fine. You can share anonymously, maybe, or or give it to us through IM, and we can share it anonymously if you want.
You can
that.
also email us at cantheysaythat18@gmail.com.
Can they say that 18@gmail.com? That's our email.
It is
How
our
do you
email.
know? How do you know?
We
That's
have
awesome.
an email.
Okay.
Pretty soon we'll have a website.
Oh, it's getting exciting around here, kids. Okay, so anything else? Are you good?
Yes, I was thinking through this. You're gonna fumble through this.
Oh my goodness.
Give yourself grace for it.
Did you hear us today?
Yeah.
Speaking of fumbling, we fumble.
Fumble.
Yes.
And give grace for yourself. And if you get your head bit off when you try to do this, please don't let that put a wall up for you.
Send them the link to this podcast.
Yeah. I don't like people like that. Okay. What are you trying to say? You're being very covert. So, but if they do slam you, and don't let that put a wall up, because not every person's going to respond that
That's
way.
right.
Not every person's going to punch you in the face. And hopefully that
Metaphorically
speaking.
Yikes.
Yeah. And so just have fun with this, but let it really like wrestle with you. Let it be your sandpaper.
And call out your wrestling. I mean, it's okay to say to somebody, this might be awkward. I'm just really working at something here. So, you can even call out your own awkwardness. Sometimes that's really helpful, just labeling it like that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye, YouTube world.
Bye, YouTube.
Do we have anything we want to say to them besides showing them my cute
Other
corgi
than,
shirt?
isn't that cute? Other than that, just do it, okay? Just
it.
go do it. We're going to do it.
Yeah.
You do it. Send us a comment. We want to know how it goes.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.